firefighters. This one's for the firefighters. This one's for the firefighters. Fire.
So in this video today, I want to cover beginner things for Elder Scrolls Online. Different things we can do here, things you need to look out for if you're just starting the game, have no idea what's going on, and people start talking and you're kind of curious what they're talking about. This will cover that. We'll go over it in much more detail later on in a different video over your races, your classes, crafting, gathering, and things like that. So stay tuned for that content later. So the very first thing you need to do to start playing Elder Scrolls Online is to actually purchase the game itself. If you don't know if you really want to play it, you're thinking about it, haven't decided, I highly suggest you getting the starter edition, which costs $20 right now. And that comes with the Morrowind expansion pack, your battlegrounds, and you get the class, the Warden, as well. If you're really interested later on, I would highly suggest get the new chapter expansion that's coming out in a couple months. By then, if you get the whole entire collector's edition, you'll get Somerset, Elsewhere, Greymoor, and you'll get Blackwood as well as the new content with that. So one of the nicest parts about ESO is you actually don't have to pay for a monthly subscription unless you want to. I suggest that you start the game, see if you kind of like it, and before you buy anything else in the game, pay for 1 month of the monthly subscription. It's $15. You get so much more with ESO Plus. First thing you get is all DLCs to the game. Everyone we have in there, you get free access to. You got a crafting bag. All your crafting supplies go in this bag. Unlimited storage. Never have to carry it with you. You'll get extra crowns every month. You can purchase mounts, pets, armor motifs, things like that. You get double bank storage. The cool thing is you get 10% gold and experience points. You get 10% bonus to your crafting and research time. You get double furnishing and collectibles. You get a dyes, double currency cap, and you get extra access to the Crown Store. If you're interested in it, I highly suggest you pick that part up. So you purchased the game, you installed it. What's the first thing we do? Well, then we got to make our character. Create a new character. And for this, you got to create your class, your alliance, and your race. But you must keep in mind that every alliance has a race that is locked to that alliance. Unless you actually purchase any alliance, any race token. So after we pick our name, we pick our alliance. With the Daggerhall Covenant, you're locked to Breton, Orc, and Redguard. With all the Merry Dominion, you have High Elf, Wood Elf, and Khajiit. Ebonheart Pack, you have Argonian, Dark Elf, and Nord. If you want, you can purchase the Imperial Edition and you get the Imperial class as well. The only difference you're going to have is with your alliance is when you PvP in open world like Cyrodiil, Imperial City, Imperial Sewers, and things like that. So if you want to play with your friends in PvP zones, you have to pick the same alliance as them. But other than that, it does not matter what alliance you pick at all. It will be where your main quest story for the original game would be located at, but that's really it. You could change your alliance later on if you want to, but that does cost crowns. So after you pick your race and you pick your alliance, it would be your class. Very first one we will cover is the Dragon Knight. The Dragon Knight is an extremely powerful tank, one of the best tanks in the game in my opinion. Next we have the Sorcerer. Sorcerers deal a lot of lightning damage, and with the lightning damage they also have pets. You can have up to 2 pets at once, and you can kill people with that. After your Sorcerer, we're going to have our Nightblade. The Nightblade, in my opinion, is one of the best classes if you want to be the rogue, assassin, thief, things like that. They hide in the shadows. They have assassin abilities. Extremely fun to play this class. After our Nightblade, we have one of my personal favorites, the Templar. People call it like the paladin of the game. You can heal yourself, you can heal people, you can do massive amounts of damage. You can go solo a lot of content, so you do damage with this character or this, this class, you can actually heal yourself for the same amount of damage you're putting out. Extremely effective, hard to kill class. Up next after the Templar would be our Warden. A Warden, they use a lot of different abilities. They'll use what's called Winter's Embrace, Green Balance, and Animal Companion. Now the Winter's Embrace, they can yield frost spells to boost their defenses. The Green Balance will heal people, and the Animal Companion will let the Warden summon an animal to help them in combat. Last but not least is our Necromancer. Now the Necromancers are masters of the dark arts. They do a great job. They're really fun to play. You got to be careful what abilities you use in town, because the guards will come at you because you're breaking the law. I actually have a Necromancer healer. It's kind of bizarre. I love it. I love to play it. Really fun to play. I highly recommend try it out just to have fun with it. So when people log into a game for the first time, one of the very first things they want to do is level up. One of the fastest ways of leveling up on this game is actually doing your quest. If you look right in front of me, that is a main quest that we can play and have fun with. But quest is not the only way to level up. You can kill enemies, you can do dungeons, PvP events, anything like that will give you a lot of EXP. So after you gain a level in ESO, you'll actually start to get skill points. Now these skill points you can put into your abilities. You'll have a lot of abilities. Right now we only have the class abilities, but you have a weapon, world, class abilities, you have armor abilities, tons of different things you can put your skill points in to make your character a lot stronger. After our skill points, we're going to have attributes. Our magicka, which is going to be how you cast magic and things like that. Putting points in magicka will help increase your max magicka levels you have. After magicka, we'll have health. Now your health is, like it says, health in the game. The more skill points you have in there, the more damage you can take. Then you have your stamina. Stamina is going to help you use your moves more effectively, more often, and you can run faster. I'm going to be working on a stamina build, so I'm going to put all my points in a stamina for this build. So after our attributes, after our skill points, you'll start to get, after you get to level 50, you'll start collecting champion points. Now your champion points are there to make you increase in level after you get to level 50. The old max champion points actually used to be 810. Recently it increased it to 3600, put in between 3 constellations. And you have the 3 constellations. The first one is craft. That's your quality of life things you have going on. Your next is warfare and fitness. So let's look at the craft. Tons of different options here you can put things in. You got gilded fingers, out of sight. We'll go into a lot more detail later when we do builds and what to do here. This is just quality of life in the craft. After you get done with the craft tree, it'll be our warfare. For the warfare tree, this is going to be helping your combat. Make you hit harder, you're stronger. Everything dies a lot faster with this. Our last tree or constellation will be our fitness one. Now this is going to make it so you're tougher to kill. This can help your survivability, help you increase your magicka, stamina, health, things like that. This will make you just live longer out there. The cool part about ESO is all of these champion points are shared account wide. If you earn them on one character, you can use them on every single character. So you start a brand new level 1 character, you have 1,000 champion points. You can use all 1,000 champion points on that level 1 character. You can get through the game a lot faster, kill enemies better, things like that. Awesome that they put this in and implemented it. So you get all that done, you get to your first city and town. What's the first thing you should do as you start your crafting? Crafting is essential in ESO. Now we have multiple different crafts. We have alchemy, which is our potions. We have our blacksmithing, which is our heavy armor and weapons. We have our clothing, which is our medium and light armor. Enchanting adds enchantments to our jewelry, weapons, and armor. Our jewelry crafting will sit there and have rings and necklaces. Our provisionings are cooking. You make drinks and regular food. Then we have woodworking, that is last. Woodworking will be your staffs, your shields, and your bows. Before you even start leveling up your craft, you need to make sure you start your research. In the beginning, you can only research one item at a time. If you look here, all my research is done on everything but one. Every weapon has multiple different traits. Every piece of armor has multiple different traits. It could take a very, very long time to research all of this stuff. Start early and get it done fast. As we said earlier, the craft tree has lots of quality of life things going on here. Your inspiration boost means that when you craft something, you break it down, you get more EXP every time. You can sit there and gather and get more items for when you're crafting at one given time, and things like that. Now these really bright stars, you gotta make sure you click on them so you can actually equip them. In order to craft your higher level gear, you actually need to put a lot of skill points into this. You get more skill points, you get your level higher, you can put more into it. So we're looking at blacksmithing, metallurgy, you can get level 160 gear. Metal extraction, when you start refining the things you find out in the open world, you'll get more items. You'll get more green, blue, purple, and gold items the more you refine it. I highly recommend save all your refining until you get a few points into that so you can get more bang for your buck. Now to go along with your crafting, we have what's called transmute. Transmute makes it so you can have one trait on an item. If you're not happy with that trait, you can actually change that trait on the item if you already have it learned and researched. Next, we have reconstruct. So anything you find out there in the open world and dungeons you've collected once, you can remake that later on if you want. This is what we call the sticker book. So you go in here, find what you want, and you can recreate it. Now, the more items of that type you found, the cheaper it cost to make it. So what are we going to do after we do all this? We start crafting and we get all that done. We're going to start exploring the open world. One of the biggest things you need to look at is your solo delves. They're a solo dungeon of sort. You go in there, there's one boss in there. Sometimes there's a quest associated with that, and there's a sky shard. Remember, if you collect 3 sky shards, you get 1 skill point. Up next will be your group delves. They're a little bit harder than your solo delves. You may need 2 or 3 people with you if you're low level or have no champion points at all. You're going to go in there, kill a bunch of enemies. You can go in there 2 to 4 players and you'll be fine. Next, we have our public dungeons. This is going to take a few people to go in there and help you kill everything in here. There's multiple bosses. Every time you kill one enemy, multiples will be linked to them. So you have big pulls, and there will be a quest associated with every single one of these. Go in there, get them done. It's definitely worth it. Get a skill point every single time you get one done. Next, we have our group dungeons. Our group dungeons are our standard dungeon like every other main MMO has. This is a 4-man dungeon. You have 2 DPS, 1 healer, 1 tank. There's multiple ways to get into here. One of the easiest ways is to actually get on your duty finder, or it's called your dungeon finder. You can pick it automatically what one you want to, or you can do a random. If you see here, I get a lot of EXP if I do one random dungeon. Now we'll look at the specific dungeons. All I gotta do is go over here, click it, join the queue, and I'll be queued just for that dungeon alone. Last but not least are our trials. These are what your raid would be in Final Fantasy XIV, WoW, and things like that. These are 12-man group dungeons. Extremely hard to do. You will not be able to solo this. You'll have multiple tanks, multiple DPS, and multiple healers for this. Extremely high rewards when you finish this content. Definitely worth getting into a raiding guild or join one that periodically just does a quick raid or trial. Next, how do we get around ESO? It's a massive map. The best way to get around is actually use these way shrines. You go find them. When you unlock them, you can travel there whenever you want. Great to do. You can go multiple places whenever you want. Next would be actually our mount, our horses. How do we get to our horse? First, you gotta go to your mount tab, find the one you want equipped, click on it, and after you click on it, you'll have a check mark next to it. You're going to come up, push H, kind of like horse. And that's how you're going to ride. When you first start, your mount will be very slow, have no stamina, anything like that. So you actually have to go to a stable master. When you go to your stable master, you can buy a mount from there if you don't have one yet, which I would not do. I'll just hold off. They're not worth the money. But you're going to click speed, or stamina, or carry capacity. I highly recommend you get your speed to 60% before you do anything else. If you're going to level multiple characters, every day log into every character and upgrade one part of it. You can only do one every 20 hours. Highly recommend do all of them at once. It costs 200 gold for every trait that you're going to research. Next, we'll cover your inventory. You don't have a lot of inventory in this game whatsoever to start. So what do you gotta do? First thing you should do, find your pack merchant in your major city you come in. Go inside, talk to your pack merchant, and buy a pack. You're gonna buy a couple of these. Every time you get a new one, it gets more and more expensive. Make sure you save your gold and do this whenever possible. The next thing to do is, after you get your bank space and it's still full, what do you do with all those items? Well, you can either break them down or sell them. I highly suggest you sell anything you cannot deconstruct. Sell it to any NPC shop in the game. While you're here, repair your gear every time. That way you're set. like I said, when you're done with the shopkeep, go over, deconstruct anything you may or may not have, and you have a lot more inventory space that way. So you sell everything, you deconstruct everything you want to deconstruct. What do you do with any other things you don't want to sell or deconstruct? Or you can put them in your bank. Every main city has a banker. If you look in your map, it looks like your treasure chest. Go ahead and go to your banker. This is your personal bank. You can withdraw or deposit. So go ahead and deposit anything you don't want. Not only can you put all your items and inventory in there, you can also deposit your gold, alliance points, 12R stones, and your crafting writs. We'll go over all that stuff, more detail in the next video. So you get all that done, you deposit everything you possibly want to do. Now you can go to your guild store. No, only certain guilds have a store. When you have a certain amount of people, you can sell anything you want. But what we're going to do is go to one of my guild traders I have. Sit there and sell whatever I want. I'm going to sell all these items for what looks like the going price is. So after we put everything in the guild trader we want, we can actually buy from the guild trader as well. Whatever our guild could be selling or any other guild traders you see out there, you go on here, you can actually search for specific items. You can search all and do things like that. It's the only thing I don't like about ESO is the way the auction house system works, but it does work. So along with our guild traders, we also have guilds. In Elder Scrolls Online, you can be a member of up to 5 player guilds. This doesn't count your Thieves Guild and Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, things like that. This is your actual guild where you can chat with other people. Now, how do we find a guild we might want to join? You go to our guild finder, and then you're going to go to browse guilds. You got trading guilds, you have your group PvE guilds, RP or role playing, social, PvP, questing, and your crafting. So what do we do when we find a guild trader out in the open world? First thing, we're gonna go find one. They are indicated on your map close to where they're at. If you see right here, we have a guild trader owned by the Silk Road. If you look on the map, right where the little green arrow is, you'll see the guild trader. You can see where other guild traders are as well. All main cities have guild traders. They have multiple, more than one. If you look right here, there's a lot of guild traders here. So what do? We go there, we talk to them, go to the guild store. You can type in an item, you can search for different things. Here I'll search for every glyph that we have for jewelry. And these are all the jewelry glyphs that we could buy from this guild trader. So next, we're going to cover our Undaunted Pledges. Now, when you reach level 45, you can do the Undaunted Pledges. You got to go to the Undaunted Guild, start a quest line. When you get that done, you can go to the Undaunted Enclave, which if you open your map up, you'll be able to see it. When you come here, you'll see that there are 3 different NPCs that you can choose from for your Undaunted Pledges. There'll be different dungeons throughout the whole entire game, and we'll go to one of them right now to see what they're offering today. The green arrows mean it's a repeatable quest. So today, we have Castle Thorn, Very fun dungeon. So I'm going to accept that pledge, and we'll go see what the other ones have to offer. This one's Banished Cells. I can solo that one, so I'll pick up that one. If you look over here at the dark arrow, I've already completed this one, so we're going to turn the quest in and see what we get. We got 1 Undaunted Key and 1 Transmute Geode. If you ever need to know how many keys you have, they're in your inventory under your currency. Now let's grab this next one. We're going to see what we do with these keys. So you can use 1 key to open up a miscellaneous coffer, or you can use 5 keys to open up one of these purple coffers. You will get a purple shoulder out of one of these. You don't know what you'll get. You'll get one of these 2 options out of every chest. The problem is, you don't know if you'll get light, medium, or heavy, and you don't know what trait you'll get with that. This is where you want to use the transmute crystals and your transmute station, which is in my house. Then you can put whatever trait on whatever shoulder piece you get that you like. You can change it around whenever you want, as long as you have the transmute crystals to go with it. So these are called your monster sets. Your monster sets are a 2-piece set. You get head and shoulders. The shoulders you get with your keys. The head you actually get in a veteran dungeon. If you see here, here's my head. Here's my shoulder. I love these for my Templar. They're great pieces right here, the Grothgar. So if you want the head, you would go to like the 8 Hollow 1 veteran. You kill the final boss, and when you kill that final boss, you'll get your monster head. You don't know, once again, is it light, medium, or heavy, or is it going to be the trait you want? That's the grinding part of the game for that. Up next will be our Antiquities. Antiquities came out with the Greymoor expansion. This is where you're like an archaeologist. What you're going to do is go to your Antiquities tab under your quest journal, and you can look at everything you can scry. Scrying is a little mini game. We'll show you really quick, but this is all into the world skill tree. You got excavation and scrying. You need to level all these up to max to get the best gear from Antiquities. Now, why is Antiquities so important to do? You get some amazing gear. If you look right here, you got the Ring of the Pale Order. You get hit points back every time you damage a target, unless you're in a group, but the group cannot heal you either, so that's the downfall. The very next one we have here is the Ring of the Wild Hunt. This increases your speed by 15% in combat and 45% outside of combat. You can run really fast. It's awesome. So you unlock the Antiquities tab. What do? First, we find a scry that we want to use. I have tons of different ones to pick from, but we're actually going to go to the very top of the list and pick the one that we can use in this zone right now. So when we start the scrying, we start a mini game. And this is where we got to connect all these little flashing circles in line. I'm going really fast right now just so we can show you the basic concept of this. Now we'll show you later on how we actually level this up with skills and things like that. If you can see, I got all 6 circles lit up. What that's going to do is remove the possibility of the 6 spawn points for my excavation site. To find your excavation site, you're going to open up your world map for that zone, and you'll look on your map, and it's right here. After I get to the zone where it's at, I'm going to use my little eye. What that's going to do is show me the direction of my excavation site. If you can see, it looks like a comet going towards me. It's being pulled towards the excavation site. As you can see, mine's lit up right here, and we'll go over the next mini game. For our next mini game, we're going to try to find out where this is at. It's not the yellow. There it is. It's in the green right there. I'm going to try to find out about where it is, so we know about where these treasure chest is we got to find. First, I'll use my brush, so I can make all the dirt around the same height, and then I'll use my really big shovel right after that. I'm going to keep on doing this until I can find where my treasure chest is that I'm looking for. As you can see here, I found my chest. No problem there at all. Now I still have more time, so I'm going to try to find these mini treasures that are around here. I'm going to keep on excavating until I find whatever I can, or until my time runs out. Found one right there. And I found one more. So now I'm pretty much done. And we're going to figure out what my rewards are right away. I got my next lead. And I got the Antiquity, which is, just NPC, just sell that. And I got 2 bonus items. Next, we're going to start covering our gear sets. What do we do? How are they good? So you can go to overworld content. You can go to your delves. You can world bosses, your public dungeons, and your dolmens. Your dolmens are little world events where a whole bunch of people go there, and that's where you get like your jewelry from and stuff like that. Now, when you get this, you get some amazing gear sets. The best thing is get a 5-piece set like I have here, Mother Sorrow. If you look, if I have all 5 pieces, I got a lot more critical chance with my melee or magic attacks. So after your overworld sets, then you have your dungeon sets. You can only get these from specific dungeons. Try to get your 5-piece the best you can. Use whatever 5-piece you have available at the time that does fit your build, but strive to get better pieces. If you can see here, I'm at 160 on my gear, so I have the max level gear. The only difference is I can actually go higher with the gold and purples. After our dungeon sets, we have craftable sets. There's many different craftable sets you have out here. If you look here, I got a 5-piece set I can make, but I need 3 traits to make 1 item, which means I need to have 3 traits researched just to make that one particular item. So if you times that by all 5, you need 15 different traits researched. They're all over the map. They're pretty easy to get. If you don't have it yourself, you can always ask a guildmate and they can probably craft it for you if you give them materials and a little bit of a tip. Those ones right there were the 3-piece sets. If we look at other parts on the map, like right over here, this one I actually need 6 traits research to make 1 piece. So you get a very long time to craft this stuff. That's why the crafting research is essential. You start it immediately when you first start playing the game. Next will be our housing. Now your housing is really fun to get into and play with. You're going to hit the U key and go to your housing to find your house. But if you don't have one yet, you'll go to your collections, go down to houses, and that's where you can pick the different houses you want to look at, see if you want to purchase them. You can get them furnished or unfurnished. You got your staple houses, then you got your classic houses. And then you have your notable homes. Really fun to get in here and play around and have fun with the housing. I don't do a lot of it, but there's a lot of people that'll spend hours and hours in every house to do this. One really cool part about your houses is you can put crafting stations in here. I got a clothing station, I have my enchanting table, alchemy station, here's my transmutation station, and then my cooking fire. But you can also put your banker. You can put whatever NPCs you have as well. As you can see, I have my banker, I have my merchant, And I got my little thief here, smuggler, where I can sell stuff to as well. Now, you cannot buy anything from your merchant, but you can sell to your merchant. Upstairs in my house, I actually have my target dummy, or parsing dummy we call them as well. You can sit there, see what kind of DPS you're doing. It can help you out, figure out your rotation, things like that. So it's really cool to be able to own one of these houses. You can put the stuff in there, whatever way you want. It's really interesting. Like I said, it's a time sink. You can have a lot of time if you're interested in this kind of content. Last but not least, we have our PvP stuff. So what you're going to do is go to your battlegrounds, and you can do a solo deathmatch battleground, a solo random battleground, team deathmatch, and team random. If you look here, if I do one, if I get first or second place, I'll get 101,000 EXP for completing it. This is one of your many different types of PvP events we have here. It does not matter what alliance you are for this one, so you can team up with your friends for this type of PvP. Your next type of PvP stuff will be Cyrodiil. Cyrodiil is your main huge events. You can have thousands of people in this zone at once. It's a massive map. Massive map. This is where you have yellows versus reds versus blues. You got your blues on the left side of the map, right there. You have your reds on the right side of your map and your yellows down below. The objective here is to take over castles and keeps and things like that. This is where you use your siege equipment, battering rams, oils, trebuchets, and things like that to break down the walls so you can gain access to this and take over the keep for yourself and for your guild if you have one. Last, we have the Imperial City and the Imperial Sewers. Really fun to go in here as well. This is more of the capture the flag type event, kind of. You go to one spot, right here, there, and you just go around the map, standing there like the domination type event where you stand there until the flag turns your color. This, you have many different random enemies as well. Not only the players for PvP, you have bosses in here that can one-shot you. Very careful when you come in here. Really fun. Go with the group and have a great time. This is one of my favorite places to go for PvP. But as always, guys, if you like this kind of content and you like this one, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. It does help out grow the channel quite a bit with the YouTube algorithm we have out here. Be ready for more informational videos. Other than that, thank you for watching.
This one's for the firefighters. This one's for the firefighters. Firefighters.